So next time, you better post the CCSM. Okay, so our church aspires for net zero emissions by 2030. So that's around 6 years from now. So we put up the screen and people will say, really? I want to, it's only about 6 years and I'm going to actually do that. It's very simple, as you can see in this presentation. Next, again, we understand net zero to mean that the amount of emissions that are emitted by our churches, institutions and facilities will be balanced by the amount of emissions that are removed from the atmosphere. So it will be achieved by a combination of reduction, as explained by Elizabeth earlier. We reduce emissions, and what we cannot reduce, we need to remove them from the atmosphere. So it's as simple as that. I think somebody called it yesterday carbon neutral. So next. In our experience, the process towards doing that is first we measure, so we understand what's the actual, figure that we are talking about here. And then we work towards reduction, and finally sequestration. Okay. I think in our experience, Josh, it's been a challenge to actually measure. It's very expensive to do that. But we are lucky because in 2022, we were able to partner with the World Resources Institute and GLI to actually survey our emissions. Actually, it was a project. In the internet now, there are a lot of templates on how to measure emissions. But those templates, most of them do not apply to a country like the Philippines, where the level of technology is much, much lower. So we cannot find a template for doing that. And so WRI and GLI said, why don't we actually collaborate to develop a template that can be used by other churches that have a similar situation as you have. So we did that, and part of that is to measure that resulted also in the actual measurement of emissions. So the survey covered our national OPs, 7 diocesan offices, including the commercial spaces that are within those offices, 300 local churches, 22 educational institutions, including the seminary, and 2 hospitals. So it was almost a 1-year process of surveying the actual emissions. And that has resulted in the estimation of 9,576 tons of carbon that was emitted by the whole church in 2021. So we now have a figure, we have now an understanding, actual measurement of the level of emissions that we have. So it's 9,576 tons per or annually, that's 2021. So so we now have that figure, 9,576. That is the figure that we are going to bring to zero. Okay. Now also in that period, in 2022, while we were doing the initial survey, we were also able to partner with, from 2013 to until now, we have been consciously planting trees in connection with the reduction of emissions. We have been planting trees long before that, but in terms of an intentional, program to actually bring down emissions, we started that in 2013. And from 2013 to 2018, we were able to plant 165,000 trees on 43 sites. So let's look at some of these, Joshua. So you have that. Next. Next. So these are the trees, forests that we've already planted, developed since 2013. Next, Josh. So in 2022, we partnered with climate stewards to survey the sequestration capacity, or how much have those trees actually sequestered. In other words, how much have they actually removed from the atmosphere. So I said that we started in 2013 and it's continuing up until now. But we included only those from 2013 to 2018 because the later years would have an insignificant rate of sequestration. So it covers only 2018 to 2013. And based on, again, so we did almost a year of measuring the carbon sequestered. So next. Okay, so these are the teams that were doing the measurement of the trees. Next, Joshua. Okay, next. Okay, and from this study, climate stewards was able to estimate that the 165,000 trees from 2013 to 2018 have already sequestered a total of 31,616 tons of carbon dioxide. So this is the figure, 31,616 tons. Okay, Josh. So that's the total from 2013 to 2021. That's a period of 9 years. So if we divide that by 9 years, that would be around 3,512 tons of carbon sequestered annually on the average. So 3,500. Next, Joshua. So in order to arrive at net zero, this is our total, 9,576. We deduct the actual amount of carbon that is being sequestered annually, which is 3,512. And this is now the remaining figure, 6,064 tons that we need to bring to zero by 2030. 6,064. Okay, how do we plan to do this? Okay, Joshua. First, we have an ECP decarbonization program. That means that we have to decarbonize our facilities, our buildings, and all the assets of the church. We do this by solarizing installation of solar power. Right now, our Brent Hospital in Zamboanga has been completely solarized at a cost of 12 million pesos. We have a center where Bishop Prenzel is, a center for cooperatives within our property that has already been solarized. 2 years ago, we presented a proposal to solarize the national office, and it would cost us 8 million pesos just to put up the whole system. That amount is almost 10% of our total national budget. But our executive council approved it. You do this, you are going to shelve many programs, several ministries, 8 million, costing 8 million pesos. To be able to reserve that amount for solarization, there are certain significant projects that will have to be shelved, ministries that will have to be shelved. But I think it's a testament to the willingness of our people to sacrifice, because they approve, our executive council approved the allocation of 8 million just to solarize the national office. But as we went on, we were able to partner with a company, Force Solar company, which will actually do the installation of the solar systems for us at no cost. At no cost. It's going to be a lease-to-own arrangement where they install it, they bill us for our consumption, which is going to be less than what the electric companies are billing us at this time. You know, so they're going to bill us, and then in 15 years, that system is transferred to us. So it's a very, very good arrangement for us because we don't have any actual cash out. Again, what we learned from that is solarization is actually financially viable, even from the standpoint of a budget. It will take time, but so we're going to do that. Our major buildings right now. Last week, engineers came to our office to validate the survey conducted at for the national office, for the seminary, and for the national cathedral. So we're going to do that. We're going to solarize our buildings. Next, Joshua. In the meantime, we are also doing this in our smaller churches. We're proceeding with the installation of solar energy. So our targeting the reduction of our emissions by 50% by at least 50% from solarization. We're hoping to bring down by the level of emissions by 50%. At the very least, our target is that it should be more, around 80 to 90%, but we're putting it at 50. Next, Joshua. Okay, so again, our target is to bring down 6,064 tons. But again, take note that we are sequestering around 3,000 tons by our forest, by our trees right now, so that the actual level that we shall bring down to zero would be 1,064 tons. And again, if we are not able to do this by decarbonization, we're going to do this also, or we're going to sequester. Now, we need to point out that people are questioning, this is a technical way of looking at it, because they're saying, those are figures, and what about, actual changes in mindset? Because that's what's important, people realizing the marching tide towards environmental Armageddon that we are moving forward to, and doing something about it. So we have not presented here what we are doing actually personally, collectively, and as congregations to actually lower our consumption. We are doing that. We are very much aware of that. So that's part of the entire process. So that is the plan. It is very simple. Again, a question: can we do that in 6 years? Well, you have seen it. We can easily do that in 6 years. Again, the good thing there is that it's actually financially viable. In the end, it's going to bring us more money, because of our reduction of our billings for electrical consumption. Okay, so that's our net zero program. Now, 9,000 tons, 9,500 tons is actually less than 0.1% of the total emissions of the Philippines. Less than 0.1%. And the total emissions of the Philippines is actually less than 0.1% of total global emissions. So in the whole scheme of things, it's just a speck in the wide and vast deep blue sea. So why do we even care? It's just so small that you cannot even see it. Why do we even care? Well, but as explained by Elizabeth earlier today, in the march towards environmental Armageddon, every little effort that we do, we need to do that. So every little effort that we do counts. So that's the first. Secondly, by doing this, it actually gives us a credibility, to question governmental developmental actions that are destructive of ecology. Right now in the Philippines, it's a big problem with big government projects that are being done, that are destructive of communities, destructive of the environment, and we always question this. By doing this, by demonstrating that we are willing to sacrifice, it adds to our credibility. Okay. And finally, I think the most important one is that it expresses our focus on what's really important. What's really important is our role to proclaim the death and resurrection of Christ. That is our focus. It's a focus that we don't just utter in words. It's a focus that we don't just, preach or a sermon, but it's a focus that we actually do every day. It's a focus that we are willing to sacrifice on. It's a focus that we are willing to give up our resources. And that is what net zero for us represents. It is an expression of our focus on the death and resurrection of Christ. We don't just say that in a sermon. We do that by moving towards net zero. Now, we've heard that in our sharing here that our churches here are doing much better, much more advanced way of addressing the environment, and we hope to get more information about that so that we can all be united together. And as CCA churches, we hope that we can all work together towards bringing all our emissions to zero. As I understand, all of you are doing right now, you just need to consolidate that in presenting as a concrete action. Okay, thank you.